Hello everyone, how are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, the CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. Today we have a very special guest. We have Mr. Mitch Synder here from Bell Helicopter, no other than Bell. Today we're going to tell you Mitch Synder, president of Bell Helicopter, your NQA certification with underwriters ANSI-ANAB compromises your quality. And we can see that most definitely with the most recent issue with the V-22 Osprey, the Bell Boeing combo aircraft, tilt rotor aircraft. Another went down. Also, Boeing got caught at their composite facility, not writing down proper temperatures or pressures, not writing down anything at all between 2007 and 2011. All the pertinent data will be down below this video. I'm just giving you a taste right now. Mitch, sit back, relax, and listen to this bullshit, because it certainly is. You have nothing. You know, they always talk about confidence and quality, impartiality are big words that they use in the quality community, but you're going to see, Mitch, that they are fucking you. I know on the golf course you've heard the term fuck, I'm sure, but in the realm of ANSI-ANAB, that is a standard that they started in 2019 with a Mr. Russ Cheney, the chairman of ANSI, who sits right over by Joe Baptista, the CEO. And he called me up because I exposed an impropriety in a laboratory accreditation. And he called me up and left me a phone message, half a nut, fuck you. To make matters worse, you discover that a Miss Pamela Sale, who's the vice president of quality for a laboratory, gave in a deposition in Texas. And this is exactly what she said. She said, from one laboratory to another, there are variances. They lack protocols. Now we know why the virus escaped from Wuhan, China. You will see in this presentation why. And Pamela Sale, the vice president of ANSI-ANAB's laboratory accreditation, confesses to their guilt. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental entity. They foster both federal agencies and corporations on their board. In 2015, Mitch, Randy Doty, the vice president of ANAB, chairman and principal on the International Accreditation Forms tax report. The IAF is incorporated in Delaware, no less. He was involved with that position from 2009 to 2015. He was involved as being the principal, I think, on the IF 990 from up to 2018. He handed over leadership to this communist Chinese national, Zhao Jinwu, to an American company, the IAF, incorporated in Delaware. Zhao Jinwu has been involved with our quality since 2019. I apologize. Since 1994. 1994, he's been involved with our quality. I apologize about 2019. At the time, he was also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services in Beijing, China. In 2017, we have a picture of him standing in the laboratory issuing one of those frisky, whiskey, fucked up certs for a laboratory accreditation in 2017. Also, at that time, Randy Doty was being advertised in the Department of Homeland Security. We have them in here as well. You will see it. He was being advertised, a private, not-for-profit company, such as ANSI-ANAB, was being advertised in the Department of Homeland Security. You'll find out why. It's because DHS sits getting compensated on top of their federal salary on the American National Standards Institute board. Going back to this guy, he was still the chairman of the IF in 2017. He was also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Service, who was issuing that cert. To make matters better is that he is mandated by his country of origin, Mitch, that to take your data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. In fact, taking your data, I will tell you this, Mitch, it is absolutely appalling when you see this. And I will show this to you. This is not your data yet, but it's close. Oh, there it is. Yes, it is your data. In a China exposition for military contract materials, They had both your aircraft over here, the V-20, the V-280 Valor, and they also had the SB-1 Defiant, the Lockheed Sikorsky, I guess, Boeing aircraft. By the way, I worked on that configuration back when I was in helicopters. You have the factor now that we're going to show you, as I showed you. You've got these being hacked, and also you have the F-35 and the Black Hawk who got hacked by China. Let me give you a little history there. 2009, Lockheed Martin gets hacked by China, taking the F-35. 2012, a division of the United Technologies Sikorsky aircraft gets hacked by China. In 2015, Lockheed goes to buy Sikorsky, and in the Connecticut Mirror, it stated, you can still look at it, it's still up there. And if you can't find it, please email me, Daryl, DARYLTQRS @yahoo.com, or call me, 203-556-1493. Well, they had in the Connecticut Mirror with China's okay, Lockheed Martin closes in on the purchase of Sikorsky aircraft. Isn't that a tender moment? You have ANAB that sits on ANSI's board. You have the factor that ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. They're basically one company, but separate. I love the article that I just saw. What is the difference between ANAB and ANSI? There is a difference. There's no difference whatsoever. In fact, you'll find ANSI's logo on SurfSafe, which is rated D by the Better Business Bureau. You'll also see it on a certification from the British Retail Consortium that certifies our beef, like for Cargill beef, where Cargill had a 138,000 pound recall in about 2018 in September. They also sit on ANSI's board, right over by, they're sitting on the ANSI's board, and they get the ANSI seal on their BRC, the British Retail Consortium certification for quality. So they took over ANAB. On top of it, ANSI-ANAB between 2015 and 21, they sat on the IAF, being controlled by Communist China, who's mandated to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. To make matters better, and whose equivalent in accreditation to ANAB is here, Iran and Pakistan. Iran and Pakistan are equivalent in accreditation. ANSI-ANAB are underwriters for IAF, International Accreditation Forum Incorporated in Delaware, and also the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. They also, Mitch, have 10 different registrars. 10 different registrars in China that could issue an ANAB accredited certification. Cybersecurity? Right. Then you have NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which is run by the Department of Commerce. They also run the NIST MEP, Manufacturing Extension Partnership, 50 strong through the United States. They get both state and federal funding, whereby 64.85% of those funds go to pay their management and personnel. In fact, I have a letter, Mitch, from one of their former employees who state, and I quote, "You know, we used to give money to other not-for-profits, and jokingly in the office, we would call it money laundering." You have a Gordon Gillerman. Gordon Gillerman, okay, who sits on ANSI's board, getting paid $120K a year, tax-free basically. Isn't that a tender moment? From NIST. You also have the Department of Homeland Security. You remember Randy I showed you, who was there from 2017? That was a very big cybersecurity risk. In fact, during that time, between 2015 and 21, a lot of our government agencies got hacked by China. Was it hacked because they were all members of ANSI, and ANSI and ANAP, as you saw, ANSI and ANAP sat on the IF, so they were basically giving their data to Zhao Jinwu, who sat on the board and who was a chairman of the IAF. Very easy. So you have Department of Homeland Security. You have Mr. Phil Matheson getting $262,000 plus his salary for working for the United States government. Isn't that a tender moment? And by the way, here is a royalty payment. I'm not going to read it to you. I'm going to hold it here, Mitch. You can turn the video down or stop it. Read it, because that's what a royalty payment is. Now we get on to your certification. NQA, certified or accredited by ANAB. You also have the FAA involved with your certification for airworthiness and all the rest of this for your helicopters and all this mess. So you have NQA registrars, right? And here's a nice glorified picture of you. You also have Perry Johnson involved. You also have ABS quality involved, but NQA is what we're going to focus in on, and the FAA. Here it is, Mitch. The FAA sits on ANSI's board right over by NQA, and there are 7 different registrars right here. 7 different registrars that sit on ANSI's board, ANSI-ANAB's board, and they use the ANAB accreditation symbol. So I'm going to ask the public, is there any impartiality when you have NQA sitting by ANAB on ANSI's board, as I've showed you? Is there? Your certificate, Mr. Snyder, is bullshit, and we can prove it. We've already done it. You also have like BSI, who had a guy, Reg Blake, that was sitting on ANSI-ANAB's board that could grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. And the funniest and most hilarious issue, too, is we also have the Department of Defense. So, Mitch, we're going to say this very plainly, very nicely. The V-280 Valor is being built by China. You can smile all you want. He doesn't really probably give a shit because he's probably playing golf as I'm doing this video right now. Big deal. But we also have here in the wings, we have Scott Connolly, the bigwig from Textron. Isn't that nice? Look at him, he tries to act serious. He's probably, well, you know, a little bubble of his head says, I got to get to that cigar and that martini tonight. I'm sure. It is a disgusting display of quality out of control. And look, V-22 goes down. V-22 fudges documentation. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the final thing about this video. You have major corporations against federal agencies that watch over the major corporations. You have Boeing that fudges documentation. Not only Boeing, but their steel supplier, Kobe Steel. You have all of that mess. Most recently, between 2007 and 2018, you have Boeing's facility that makes the V-22, the Boeing V-22 Osprey, Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey, that weren't taking data down. You have ANAB accreditation in that facility, and the auditor doesn't look at calibration. Holy cow, you have to look at calibration when it comes to the autoclave and all that, but they missed it for 7 years. Isn't that nice? And then you have Lockheed Martin. After 801 F-35s, they're still producing shit. And then you have Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. They too sit on there. Pfizer skipped quality processes and standards. J&J had 75 million vials of COVID vaccine returned, okay, because of quality standards, okay? And they're all sitting by the FAA, the CDC, the NIH, the USDA, the FDA, FAA, again, they all sit on federal agencies, and they cavort together. So your certificate you have, as I say, you are what you eat, and I will tell you right now, you have no oversight. Your certificate, like your aircraft, may be compromised. My telephone number is 203-556-1493, or Daryl, D-A-R-Y-L, T-Q-R-S at yahoo.com. I am sorry that this is so long, a video, but you have to get this out. These people should all be fired. All of them. Mitch, I hate to tell you. You may not know this. If you don't know this, then you don't need to be fired. But you need to get your shit together when it comes to your quality. Your quality is compromised. There is no oversight. Ladies and gentlemen, you have NQA sitting on the board with ANAB, their accreditation body. There is no oversight. FAA sitting there with all of that mess. Unbelievable.